You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of GHS-TV's award-winning talk show, Crosstalk. I'm your host, Rachel Christopherson. Each week in this time slot, we take a look at different issues, personalities, and events that affect you in our community. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Childhood cancer is a leading cause of death by disease in children under the age of 19 in the U.S. Despite this, less than 4% of the federal government's total funding for cancer research is dedicated to childhood cancers each year. Families, caregivers, charities, and research groups across the United States use September to stress the critical need for awareness and support for those impacted by pediatric cancer. This week, we are highlighting some of the major local players in the fight against cancer, and the biggest asset we have is St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Joining me to talk about the work they are doing is Kate Ayers, Cancer Education Program Manager for St. Jude. Ms. Ayers, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
As I just mentioned, childhood cancer is vastly underfunded. Why is this?
I think it's probably because of how rare the disease is. So childhood cancer is like many diseases that are rare. They're called orphan diseases. And because of that, there aren't a lot of patients who come that have the disease, right? So in our population, it's going to be not, it's not going to be funded as much because there aren't as high demands from the public to have funding for that disease.
Well, we all know the amazing work St. Jude does, but what sets it apart from other cancer research or treatment institutions?
So St. Jude is the only comprehensive cancer center that is solely dedicated to childhood cancers, and that makes it unique in and of itself. It also focuses on what is called translational science, so taking the discoveries at the bench and bringing them to the bedside.
In order to do all the research and treat patients at no cost to their families, how does St. Jude raise the funding?
A lot of it comes from public donors, right? So individual people who give $20 here and there are some of the biggest providers of funds for St. Jude.
Well, what does the month of September mean to St. Jude?
I think it's a very important month, right? So this is sort of the month that advocates for a lot of what we do and creating awareness around the work that we do at St. Jude.
What does your department, the Cancer Education Program, do to raise awareness?
So my programs, I'm actually part of the Global Pediatric Medicine Department at St. Jude, but my program focuses here in Memphis, Tennessee, and we work around two forms of disparity gaps in cancer and cancer education. So one of those is disparities in healthy habits that can increase our risk of cancer into adulthood, so targeting young children with information around how to live healthy lifestyles, sun protection, nutrition benefits in cancer prevention. The second disparity that my program focuses on are disparities in education that can create barriers for underrepresented populations to pursue careers in science. And these are very important for building trust amongst patient populations that come from underserved backgrounds.
Well, can you talk about the Global Pediatric Department?
Yeah, so the Global Pediatric Department takes the work that we're doing and the discoveries that we're finding here at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis and carrying that over to the rest of the world. So in low-income countries, for example, they may lack resources necessary for successfully treating childhood cancers. And so the faculty members and the individuals working in that department work to help those countries find creative solutions to those problems.
Well, what role does the Cancer Education Program play in the overall development of St. Jude?
That is an interesting question. So what role does the Cancer Education Program play in the overall mission of the institution? Well, I think creating public awareness and education is a very important part for any scientific institution in order to help to pursue the mission of the institution, right? So if we are driven by patients who understand, or parents, so a lot of it comes from parents, right? So parents who can advocate for the health of their children, and understanding the signs and symptoms of pediatric cancer is very important. So because it's such a rare disease, oftentimes a pediatrician may go their entire career and never have a patient that comes through their doors with the signs and symptoms of pediatric cancer. And oftentimes what we found with our patient population is that it's the mother or the father, a caregiver, who insists that something else is going on, right? So many of them have sort of innocuous signs and symptoms. They may mimic a infectious disease, and it's much more likely that a child is sick from an infection than it is that they have a pediatric cancer. And so creating awareness around what are some of the subtleties of the disease is very beneficial in helping to, create a pressure to bring patients to the door, right? And preventing what's called a late referral. So a late referral is when a patient is diagnosed with cancer, but their disease has progressed in the body, and that can impact their survivalhood.
Walk us through in the day of the life of a cancer education program director.
Okay, so my program is a K through 12 focused program. So I work primarily in elementary schools. We're working on building our middle school and high school programs as well. So we do have a high school program. It's our St. Jude Science Scholars Symposium, and it's a one-day event where high school students who are interested in pursuing careers in research or healthcare around, for St. Jude it focuses on cancer research, right? And so it's a one day where they can come and sort of see the life of a faculty member and understand, what goes on in the hospital. But a lot of it is going into classrooms, and I use a lot of case-based teaching methods to help students to use their own problem-solving skills to understand what the thinking processes are in both being a scientist and being a clinician, and trying to solve some of the problems that we are working towards solving at St. Jude.
Well, your program has developed an informative website for teachers to use. Can you talk about what all is on this?
Okay, yeah, so the Cure for Kids for Teachers website has some of the cases that I mentioned before. So these are based and rooted in the three-dimensional framework, which is the shift in science standards taking place in Tennessee, but really in the country at large. It has close reading activities, so they can read about an aspect of science, so maybe it's about cells, while also enhancing their literacy skills. We have loan kits that are available that teachers in the Shelby County area can loan out or request, and then we deliver. They have models in them, activities, lesson plans that they can bring into their classroom.
How does this type of outreach help in the fight against childhood cancer?
So again, I think it's generating awareness in the community, right, and helping to make parents and individuals, so children, who might be potential parents of a child with cancer, making them aware of those early signs and symptoms.
Well, you make an impact on many lives a day. How has St. Jude impacted your life?
I think in many ways it gives you perspective as an individual in sort of understanding what needs are out there. I love working in disparities and understanding how populations are underserved and what systems are in place that keep them underserved, and how we can think about developing solutions to those problems and changing the systems in a way that creates more equity of resources and access to healthcare, to education.
Ms. Ayers, thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We have to take a break. When we return, we'll learn about an organization that helps not only the children, but the parents as well.
Music isn't just notes and rhythm. It's about feelings and emotions.
I believe students should participate in a music program no matter what high school they go to, no matter what aspect of music they might be interested in. I want for my students to gain skills and knowledge about music every single day. Music is a wonderful way for students to express themselves and express their experiences.
I feel like this music program, it helped me to just settle, just stop and just focus on what I need to do.
Being in band benefits me by helping me become a better musician, because I would like to go into music once I go to college.
Ultimately, though, truly wish that my students get life skills out of my program. I believe the skills of teamwork, building a community, showing up on time, prepared to do a good job, those are things that are invaluable and you cannot get in any other program, academic program at a school.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. In the U.S., more than 15,000 children under the age of 21 are diagnosed with cancer every year. A diagnosis turns the lives of the entire family upside down. However, research shows that children heal faster when their families are kept together under one roof. That's where the Ronald McDonald House charities come in. Jill Crocker, Executive Director of Ronald McDonald House of Memphis, is here to talk about the home away from home for St. Jude families. Ms. Crocker, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the organization as a whole. How did the Ronald McDonald House Charities begin, and what is your mission?
Okay, Ronald McDonald House is a global charity. There are 362 globally across not only the United States but internationally. But there were several dedicated families who had dealt with childhood illness, not necessarily cancer, who felt that 27 years ago, Memphis, Tennessee was the perfect place for a Ronald McDonald House. And St. Jude was very interested because the Ronald McDonald House was the first home for St. Jude patients off campus. So that partnership began 27 years ago, and we've basically been serving St. Jude ever since then. And our mission is to keep families close. As you stated, it's so important for children to have as much stability as possible, especially when they're undergoing cancer treatments, and to have your family with you during this time and to have an environment of safety and security. It's very important to healing.
How has this location kept the two founders' visions alive?
Well, I think we have grown over time as the need has grown from our partner, St. Jude. But I think in understanding how important the role of family is and providing a community of support. I love coming down in the morning and seeing families talking. You'll have parents that have been through this for years, and then we'll have new families that come in, and they really lean upon each other. And the kids, while being just kids and playing at Ronald McDonald House, they also mentor and help each other get through these times.
Well, what amenities are there for families?
Well, we have a very large campus. We have an outdoor playground and pavilion. We have our bike pads that are filled with bikes, and usually in the morning they're all over the grass. So we have all that, but then inside we have places for not only game rooms for teens and game rooms for the other children. We have activity rooms. We have large living areas with televisions that really provide a backdrop for not only entertainment, but just getting together to talk and to be together as a household.
Well, the house opened in 1991. How has it changed or evolved since then?
Well, basically, the house has doubled in size since 1991. The B addition was added later, and it encompasses a much larger living space and a much larger activity area in kind of a cafeteria setting. But then we've also added a community kitchen where volunteers from the community can come in and they can make meals for the families and help to serve in that way.
Well, talk about some of the special events you plan for the families staying in the houses.
We have a wide array of special events, not only from our programs such as Camp Wishing Well, which we do twice a year, but we also have pet therapy that comes in every other Wednesday. We have Parents' Night In because we find that parents don't want to leave their children, but it's a fun evening for the adults to get together and have dinner and even some fun activities. And then we also take the kids and families out. They went to Frozen. They've been to 2 Redbirds games. They love to go to the Grizzlies. And we do also in-house yoga. We do some talking groups that get together. We try to really think about what do you enjoy at home? what makes your life more complete, and we try to provide those.
Well, I'm sure over the years you've talked to many families living at the Ronald McDonald House. What does having a place like the Ronald McDonald House mean to them?
Well, firsthand, we hear so many times that it really has made a huge difference, because the diagnosis comes back and within 24 to 48 hours people are coming to Memphis. And sometimes they don't even really get to pack a bag. And when they arrive at Ronald McDonald House, they're greeted warmly. They have a warm and safe place to stay. And then meals are provided through our programming and through St. Jude. So it really takes the burden off of them, and it helps them to be able to really concentrate on the best care for their child.
Well, how much does it cost for a family to stay at Ronald McDonald House, and how long do they usually stay?
Well, it costs the family nothing. That's one thing that's unique about our house and our partnership with St. Jude. Families do not pay for anything while they are with us. And it depends and varies upon the protocol, the diagnosis, but we usually have intermediate stay. That could be 3 to 9 months, but we have had families that have been there much longer.
Well, you hold a lot of fundraisers that help with upkeep, like the Pop Tab Palooza. Can you tell us what this is and how the house benefits from it?
Sure. Pop Tab Palooza is something that everyone in the community can do. It centers around school-age children, but basically the pop tab on your canned beverage can be turned into the Ronald McDonald House, and it's recycled, and we earn and make fundraising dollars that way. And it's something that everybody can do. And we really, try to promote it. It's a great community awareness, and it's a way that someone from 1 to 100 can really help the house.
Well, what other local fundraisers for childhood cancer are there available?
Well, at the Ronald McDonald House, we have our clay tournament, which will be next weekend, or at the end of September, and that benefits the house, and it is basically the sporting clay tournament with local businesses that join us, and then a get-together auction afterward that talks about our mission. But our largest event is Radiothon, which is November 2nd, and we team with 98.1 The Max, and it's all day hearing about family stories and our missions, and we really appreciate the community. They've been supporting Radiothon for 27 years.
Well, what is the most important thing you want people to know about the Ronald McDonald House?
Well, I think that if you care about pediatric cancer and about the mission of St. Jude and about families, I think it's so important to understand that's really what we're about. And I think we serve as a wonderful ambassador to our city, because so many people come to Memphis and we really treat them to the hospitality of the city.
Well, Mrs. Crocker, thank you for being on the show and talking about your organization.
Thank you so much.
Stay put, because after the break, we will learn about the largest single-day fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Every day is different, Every day is a new piece of music.
1 5 1 5 3 5 6 5 1 5
It's a large program. We have 3 full choral ensembles, a women's chorus, chorale, which is about 55 students, and our chamber choir, which is about 18.
There have been lots of opportunities to audition, which have encouraged me to be more confident with myself and really put myself out there.
I really enjoyed my time being in choir, especially here at Germantown, because I feel like there's something special about this particular school.
I like them to walk into my room and feel as though they are free to experiment with sounds.
How beautiful can you make German? That's the challenge.
We always say that we're a school of excellence, and I feel that that really shows in performances, because we're all so focused in trying to reach our goals.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. I'm Rachel Christopherson. This week we are tackling the importance of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Every September, People from across the nation come together for the St. Jude Walk Run to end childhood cancer. Then in December, thousands descend on downtown Memphis for the St. Jude Marathon. And it's all to raise money for the research hospital. Here to talk more about these events is Michelle Johns, event chair for the St. Jude Walk Run to end childhood cancer. Ms. Johns, thank you for talking with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, more than 65 communities participated in the St. Jude Walk Run to end childhood cancer. Can you talk about this national event?
Absolutely. So we have, as you said, more than 65 cities in the country have a walk run to end childhood cancer. They don't all occur in September. They start some of them in August, but most of them occur in September. And I want to talk just for a moment about the fun of it all. In February, we have a volunteer leadership conference, and we'll all come together in Boston and Miami and St. Louis, Chicago. Their event chairs will also be in Memphis, Tennessee. And there's a big competition to see who can raise the most money for St. Jude. And I think it's a lot of fun. We follow each other on Facebook, and we kind of get to see how each other is, how we're all working to get our communities involved for the greater cause of St. Jude. So the walk run takes place, like you said, all over the country, and in Memphis we'll have about 13,000 participants. And what I love about the walk run is that it is a walk or run. So it's a 5K, less than 10,000 steps. Anyone basically can participate. And I really try to partner with a lot of corporate wellness programs, because a lot of corporations want to engage their employees in wellness behaviors and wellness activities. And this is one event where you can bring the entire family out, strollers for the children. Corporations can bring their entire work community out and engage in not just corporate wellness for their corporation and their community at work, but also the larger community. And so it's a really lovely event.
Well, how does the walk run help St. Jude's overall mission?
Well, we raise dollars, and that really is the best way to help St. Jude's overall mission. No one ever pays for treatment at St. Jude. So the dollars not only raise funds for research, but also for treatment for patients at St. Jude. So it's very, very important. And I had a patient mom share a story with me a couple of months ago, and she said, you know, this is such a gem to our family. Of course, you try to file on insurance to see if they will compensate for some of the costs, but if they don't, no worries. St. Jude is still going to make sure the child is treated and that they get the tests they need and the protocols that they need to be treated and cared for. And research is also going to be done for that child's cancer. So this mom said to me that she had her insurance company say to her, "We are not covering this." And she said, "It's okay, St. Jude doesn't care. They're still going to treat my child, and we're still going to be okay, and we're in good hands." And that is what these dollars go for, so that we can make sure that children get the services and the provisions they need to see a chance at life.
Well, this year, the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month ambassador was Lucy Hale, who grew up in the area. This seems like a natural fit.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And I think one of the things that St. Jude does so well is engaging people that are well known all across the world to partner with St. Jude and to promote the mission of St. Jude. And it is an important mission. St. Jude not only treats patients in the United States, but there are 24 partnerships in 17 countries around the world. So part of the mission is that we don't want to have to uproot a child from their homeland and bring them to Memphis if there's already a treatment protocol in place that we're sure of can help treat that child in their own homeland. So the doctors at St. Jude will work with doctors in their country, in their home, and make sure that they get what they need, that they've got the protocols, and the research is all shared freely, once again. So these dollars are so important, and they are helping people not just in Memphis, Tennessee, not just in the United States, but all around the world.
Well, you have a pretty lofty fundraising goal this year of $1 million. Do you think you'll meet this goal?
I don't know. We are at, I checked this morning, at about $530,000. We may be a little bit higher, so we're about 53% of the way to our goal. I did set the goal a little bit high this year. We'll definitely reach around 800,000. And if we don't reach it this year, there's definitely next year. We have a lot of partnerships. One that we are really excited about, Shelby County Schools partners with us, and they have a lot of fundraising days at the schools for the students and the faculty. And we really have done a good job of coming together as a community and engaging our greater community from at the school level, corporate level, individual level. And as Katie said earlier, as Kate said earlier, a lot of what is done at St. Jude is made possible by the individual donor. And just making a donation of as little as $10. Danny Thomas said, I'd rather have 1 million people give $1 than one person give 1 million. And that's so true, because when more of us are engaged in the mission, then it's sure to last, and it's sure to be funded for a long time, and we're sure to be able to continue the work. St. Jude, when the doors opened in 1962, the overall childhood cancer survival rate was 20%. Today it's over 80%, which is phenomenal. But yet, as a good friend of mine will say, when your child falls in the 20%, you want to keep the work going. And there are some cancers out there that there's still a lot of work to be done for. There's still a lot of research to be found, and there may be treatment, but the treatment may give the child a little bit longer, but not an entire life. And it's important that we recognize and that we know that, because we do get caught up in the fundraising and the fun part of fundraising, right? We're going to go walk and we're going to go run, but at the end of the day, we are talking about lives. We're talking about humans in their lives. And I get the joy of talking to these patient families and understanding how important the work is that we do and how important $10 is. We say all the time, what can I do for you when someone is sick or ill? Can I make you a meal? Can I do this with a St. Jude patient? What you can do is donate. It means so much.
Well, can you talk about how you incorporate students, especially Shelby County students, into St. Jude's mission?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot of students. It's amazing how children want to help children. And when I get to go to fairs, I'll have a lot of high school students come to me and they'll say, well, how can I help at St. Jude? I want to do the walk run. And we're like, absolutely. For one thing, we want people, our children, to engage in physical activity. We want them to know what it means to take a walk, and that a 5K is not that far, and that they can do that. So it's a really wonderful event, again, for students to get involved in. And a lot of times the schools will say, just bring $1 and we'll have pajama day. So a local school recently had Sleepaway Cancer Day. So the students got to wear pajamas to school, and they had to make a donation. But it was just whatever they could make. If they can make a 50-cent donation, they still got to wear pajamas. You know, it wasn't about the money as much as it was about the participation, but also raising money for St. Jude and making sure that everybody felt connected and feels like they're a part of the cause.
Ms. Johns, thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
While September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, childhood cancer is an everyday reality for thousands of families around the world. However, researchers are working hard every day to find better treatments and cures for these children. With the help of different organizations like the Ronald McDonald House and events like the St. Jude Walk Run, they're making progress. Remember, Crosstalk can be seen each week at 9:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Mondays and Thursdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 a.m. and 12 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Sundays. For more information on our programming, please check us out on the web at GHS-TV.org, where we are streaming live 24 hours a day. You can also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Rachel Christopherson. From all of us at GHS-TV, thank you for watching Crosstalk, and I hope to see you again.